Thanksgiving is a day that people celebrate the harvest and the blessings that they have received within the year. And normally, big feasts are made, turkeys are prepared, our friends are invited over, and normally it takes like several months for families to plan this. But in this story, it's a true story of a lady called Oumaima. Oumaima did not have to plan for long for her Thanksgiving. It was an instant Thanksgiving. She ate her husband for Thanksgiving. Please listen to the end, and if you've not subscribed to my true stories, click that button. Did I tell you my name is Catherine? If I didn't, then my name is Catherine and I tell true stories. Oumaima grew up in Egypt, although I'm told that it's a Moroccan name. I don't know how she got it, but she grew near the border of Sudan and Egypt, and she grew up in hardship. Her father was molesting her and her mother and was abusing the mother and her as well. And the mother said, enough is enough. So she decided to take away, leave the man with her daughter. So she took off with Oumaima. And she settled somewhere else in Egypt, also in a place called the City of the Dead. The City of the Dead. Can you imagine? Could be the cause of why Oumaima took up this behavior from the City of the Dead. I mean, living in a city called by that name, names have effects, my friend. So I think it's near Cairo, or it became part of Cairo, this city. I don't know so much about Egypt. For those from Egypt, maybe you can put in the comments. So, Oumaima, never mind about the pronunciation. Just know that she was Oumaima, an Egyptian lady. One time migrated to US. I don't know if she got married and migrated to US with some white guy or how she got herself there. I don't have the complete story. But just know that she was in the US at one point in her life, and now I know how she moved. She moved to US with some white guy, and their marriage couldn't get along so well. And so she decided that enough is enough, like just like her mom had done. And she began doing petty jobs to survive, maid jobs, nanny jobs, and sometimes part-time modeling because she was very beautiful, high cheekbones, big eyes, the model-like figure, things like that. So she used to work as a part-time model as well. So for Oumaima, this was not enough money for her to sustain her because she was no longer living with her husband for sustaining her. For her, it looked like getting married was just a means of being sustained, nothing else. And that's exactly what she was doing. Now that she had no husband and the money for modeling was not enough, her nanny jobs were not bringing in money, maid jobs were not bringing in enough money, she decided that the only way that she can survive is getting married to men and using her beauty to get their money and leaving them. So that was her means of survival. She would get married to men, although she never liked them. She never liked them. And she never enjoyed her life of intimacy with a man because she had this genital mutilation. I mean, she had been circumcised. In their tribe, they used to circumcise people when they were very young. Women, female genital mutilation, it's called, and she was in that. And so she never enjoyed intimacy, and therefore her marriages never lasted. Also, because she hated it. And in this case, she will only use the men to get money from them, marry, get the money from them, and move on to the next man. That was her source of living. At one point, she held one of her husbands under gunpoint to give her all that she needed. And once he did that, she left him. His friends were wondering, why on earth didn't you report to the police? But the answer was that he was too embarrassed that that could be done to him by a woman. So he just left it, like the male domestic violence. When the women beat up the men normally just keep quiet because they're embarrassed. And so this is what happened to the guy. Then she had to move to the next guy. She used to play the game of pool because that's where most of the guys frequented. So they say most of the rich guys used to frequent that area to spend their time on the game of pool. So she'll hang around that pool table, flirting with men so that they can give her money. Really, she's not interested in any relationship. She's just interested in their money. Then came one huge, tall, more than 6 feet guy called Bill Newton. Nelson, rather. Bill Nelson was the Thanksgiving gift. Bill Nelson was the Thanksgiving turkey. Now, how did they know that she had chewed up Bill Nelson? I mean, she couldn't completely chew him up, all of him, because he was huge, you know. He was huge, not just tall, but huge. Pounds and pounds of a man. One night, as one of her ex-boyfriends was just living across the road. I mean, she wouldn't go far when looking for a guy after she breaks up with one. So this ex was living across the road, and then he hears his doorbell ringing. He was wondering who's calling at this time of the night. On looking outside, he sees Oumaima. She sees Oumaima standing outside there. So he opens the door, and she was looking panicky. And she's like, "What's up? What do you want?" Not what do you want is the question, because this is your ex. What are you looking for at this time of the night? And she tells him, starts telling him how Bill, her present husband, has been abusing her, and that she has killed him. You know, that kind of shocks the ex, but he's not so surprised because she almost killed him at one time. And so she says she knocked him with a bedside lamp. She had tied him on the bed in the name of making the romance spicy, and then hit him with a lampshade, and then hit him with an iron box as well, and then he died because he has been abusing her and she was taking her revenge. And then she told the ex, "I want you to lend me a truck to dispose of his body." And the guy was like, "Really?" I mean, he also panicked because he didn't know why she was so comfortably telling her this. And he was thinking probably once he does that, she will kill him also. He had a truck, yes, and she was asking him for the truck to dispose of the body so that she gives him 75,000 pounds. That was her promise to him so that he helps her. And when she was talking like this, her hands were full of blood. Her face was splattered with blood, and the ex said, "Okay, do this. You go ahead. I'll catch up with you. Let me get ready. I'll bring the truck for you." And he closed his door, and believing him, she decided to go ahead, drive off to prepare the body parts for disposal by her ex. But instead, he immediately called the police and told them exactly what she had told him. And even before she would reach her apartment, the police stopped her and asked her to escort them to her apartment. Okay, excuse Michael. The weather is changing. So, what happened is she panicked, but she had no choice but to take them to her apartment. And indeed, they found Bill Nelson. Indeed, they found, first of all, in her car, there was a plastic bag, and they asked her what that bag was about, and she panicked, so they told her to open it. Bill's lungs were there. Bill's lungs. They were a bit dark because he was a heavy smoker. And this really nauseated the policemen. They've never seen such. Why are you walking around with the lungs of somebody you killed? She's moving around with the lungs. Though she needed some oxygen at one point or another, I don't know. So this led them even want to go to her apartment more. So she led them to the apartment under heavy guard because now they have a bit of evidence. Why is she moving around with human lungs in the back of her car? Well, when they entered her house, there was a pungent smell, of course, because this is a human being that has been decomposing and being cooked there for a few days now. They found Bill. Yes, they found Bill. They found her husband, Bill, but he was everywhere. He was everywhere in the house. His torso, chest and torso, were hung up in the bathroom, like the butchers hang their meat to let the blood drain. His hands and head, the head was in the fridge, but it was partly roasted on one side. His hands were in the pan boiling. I don't know what kind of soup she was making, but she was trying to rid of some fingerprints, his fingerprints, so in case she disposes of, they will never know it was him. The ribs, she had eaten part of them from the torso. She removed them from the chest and had eaten part of them. She had mixed them with the turkey and dumped them in the bin, but she had partly eaten him generally. She had eaten his private parts. She did all this on the Thanksgiving day. She had tried to dispose of most of his body parts here and there, here and there. And she was eating some of them for Thanksgiving. That night that she was eaten, Bill had invited his daughter from another wife to come and celebrate Thanksgiving with his new wife, who this is 20 years younger than him, Oumaima. But the daughter never liked her so much, so she canceled it. She said she cannot make it. So he went ahead and celebrated it because everybody was against this kind of marriage. The guy met the lady, and the next week he married her. What kind of a marriage is this? Honestly, you meet somebody, and the next week you marry the person. This is what he married: a cannibal and a murderer. So they asked her where are the other parts of the body because this guy was, as they knew him, he was a huge guy, and this was not all of him. So she had to show them where she had disposed the other parts that she could not eat. I mean, initially she thought that she can eat him all, but she realized human flesh is not that small, you know. There's a lot of flesh on us, but you cannot finish us. We are, uh, I think maybe too salty. I don't know. But she had eaten the ribs because I understand the ribs are some of the delicious parts in animals because they're closer to the bone. Things like that. The closer the meat to the bone, the sweeter. So probably that's why she had managed to eat the ribs and then dumped the pieces with the part of the turkey that was for Thanksgiving. So that's it. She had tricked the guy that she was going to have some exciting sex, tied him on the bed, and hit him with an iron box, hit him with a lampshade. So the iron box had some of his hair on it and piece of flesh from the face, the part that she had not eaten, things like that. Why she did this is that she had discovered he was not really rich as he had expected and he had officially married her. And so even if she divorced, there was nothing she's gonna get out of it. These people who look so rich from the way they dress, but they have nothing. I think all the money goes to their dressing. You're that kind of guy, just flashy, but no money. And that's what confused her, and he managed to marry her. And when she discovered the guy, she had nothing to get from the guy. The only way to get out of him was kill him and eat him for Thanksgiving. So this is the story of Oumaima Nelson, the Egyptian lady who ate her husband because he did not have enough money. So if you like my content, like, share, and subscribe. Ciao.